Scottsdale is the biggest and one of the most beautiful towns in northeast Tasmania. It's been around for quite some time and has a great sense of history. We got up early Saturday morning to take in the beautiful green pastures and the rolling meadows, and of course Scottsdale's famous fat black cows. But we were in town to catch up with Scott Blackwell, who was part of the 1998 Northern Bombers premiership side, which under current state coach Matty Armstrong went undefeated. Scott's now assistant coach of Scottsdale and, like many single men from Newbina to Marrawah, spends Saturday morning hanging out his clothes. Knowing what a lonely journey this can be, I decided to give Scott and his flatmate Jason a hand. Matty Armstrong was pretty inspirational as a coach.
Yeah, Matty was brilliant. He was a really good coach. He never ever sort of really got too close to the players or anything like that. He was just totally professional about the way he went about his coaching and that, and just in the approach to every game, there was never a stone unturned. Just knew every player, statistics on every player and things like that, and the blokes he had around him as well, who helped him a lot. Rodney Hill, who's helping him out now with its Tassie side, and Richard Spencer was there as well. Dickie Spencer, he was another one, and yeah, they just had a really good crew, and were totally dedicated to what we were trying to achieve.
What do you love about the footy?
The lifestyle, yeah, and the fact that although you do play against a lot of your opposition, but because it's such a regionalised comp, you've always got a lot of mates that you're playing against them, and there's no mates out there, but it's good to especially in this comp, because you go back to their club rooms and have a beer with them, before you go home, and they do the same, and it's just that's what just the lifestyle of footy. It's really good.
Do you ever go the biff against your mates?
Yeah, it doesn't really worry me a lot. You get out there on the field, I suppose. You're going at the ball. If they get in the way, a bit of bad luck. Yeah, buy them a beer after the game, I suppose, if you hurt them too much. But I don't usually worry about it too much.
Sawmills are a big industry in Scottsdale, so where better to have a kick of the footy than on top of Scottsdale's own Woodchip Mountain. Luckily on Friday night we've met up with local identity Murph, who managed to get a key and smuggle us into and on top of this Kilimanjaro of chip. And finally, I met up with someone who could match it with me at end-to-end footy. I was surprised when arriving at the ground to discover that Scott, Jason and the boys were wearing aprons and peeling spuds. After further inquiry, I discovered not only were they playing Uni Mowbray on the ground, they were also hosting a social function for the boys after the game. But it was time for me to go to the club rooms and catch up with some living legends. Bill, tell us when football started in the Scottsdale area.
Well, the Scottsdale Football Club started in 1889, and they joined a local competition here.
And played games in the paddock, I believe?
Oh yes, paddocks with goalposts, yeah.
Paddocks with goalposts, banged right in?
My word, yeah.
Did they have cushioning around them?
I don't think so.
But in the middle of the last century, you joined the NTFA and then won quite a few premierships.
Yes, joined in 48, and until it disbanded in 86 when the statewide came in, we won 11 premierships in that time. What
has been Scottsdale's greatest victory?
I'd say 1973, when we went through the year undefeated and won the state premiership and went over to Adelaide and played in the Australian Championships.
What do you think made that 73 side so good?
Oh, well, it was community, really. If you look around the ground today and there wouldn't be 150 people here, but those days you'd probably be 1,000 people packed around this ground, and it was regional footy. The last few years when we went to the NTFL and people had to travel to the coast and they just drifted away from footy.
Was the footy tougher and more physical in your day?
Oh yes, it was harder. Of course, it was played at a slower rate and you could catch them then, and of course with only one umpire there's a lot of physicality in the game.
You could get away with a bit more?
Oh yes, players got away with a lot, yes.
What is it that you love about footy?
Well, I just like the excitement. It's now that that you're in retirement and you come and watch the footy and you still feel like playing, but you can't.
You don't want to run out there, have a run with the twos maybe?
Oh no mate, it should be a bit hard for me.
Where do you think the best ground in Tasmania is?
York Park.
It's better than North Hobart?
Oh well, North Hobart's rather small. York Park is a football oval.
Well, what could I say to that? It was time to go and visit the umpires. I walked past the hockey girls, through the gate, across the netball court, and finally into the grey concrete building about 500 metres from the ground, which houses the umpires. They were going through their pre-game routine, doing those important stretches, and of course, practising those very crucial goal umpiring manoeuvres. On Football Life, we're talking with field umpire Russell Gittis. How do you spell Gittis?
Gittus.
Russell, how long have you been umpiring for, mate?
This is about my 12th year at the moment.
What drives someone to become an umpire?
I think it's just a thrill to be involved in the sport.
You've got an enormous journey to get to the ground today. Is that a big challenge?
Oh, I'm sure it will be today, especially if she's close at the end of the game and there's a few dramas after the game. It might be a bit of a worry.
Now we've also got Jeff Dolby here. Jeff, what's the worst thing anyone's ever called you?
Oh, I don't know if I can say on TV.
We've got a beeper. They called you beep, 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 beep.
That's the one, yeah. I've had quite a few of those. It's the standard lingo as far as umpire is concerned, because you can't suit everybody. You know, spectators or players, so you just put up with that, ignore it.
Do you think the term white maggots is a bit extreme?
Actually, you don't hear that much anymore. I think it's probably gone out of the game. That's probably an older generation sort of thing. You don't hear that very much at all now.
What's the most common one, mate?
Oh, bleep, bleep, bleep. And whatever you want to put in there.
The umpires headed out of their grey change rooms, across the netball court, through the gate, over the car park, in front of the racing club grandstand, over the trotting tracks and the fence, and onto the ground, in time for the big game. It's come to your favourite part of football life, and that's the taste test. And we're talking with Evelyn at the canteen here in Scottsdale. Evelyn, apparently you work for all sorts of canteens, yes, including the Northern Bombers. Aren't they the enemy?
Oh, well, I suppose you could say that, but they're not a bad club at all. They're quite a good club, and I didn't mind working for them.
And you've done a lot of work around all the canteens in the footy in the north and northeast, yeah. For how long?
About on and off for 40 odd years.
That's tremendous. Now, tell us, Evelyn, you've got an outdoor setup here. What happens when it rains?
Well, when it rains, I have to go inside and they have to take it inside. So I won't get wet.
Now, we've got a saveloy here. Can you tell us what's in a saveloy?
Well, red meat. That's all I can say, and it just tastes like a saveloy.
Do you know what sort of animal it comes from?
Could come from beef, or I don't know, or German.
Is it possible? Do you think saveloys are made of Germans?
Oh no!
Is it possible? Is it possible that they just sweep the butcher's floor and then wrap it in a red skin, and that's a saveloy?
No, they don't do that. That'd be too dirty.
Are the saveloys popular here at Scottsdale?
Yes, they're popular at all football grounds.
And you'd know, having worked at many football grounds.
Yeah.
Now, Evelyn, I might have a taste of this. Are you able to operate be our audio person for a moment?
Yes.
All right, and I'll taste this saveloy here at the canteen outdoors in Scottsdale. I'll just give it a go.
Right. Tell us what you think of it.
Yep, it's nice and hot. I'll give that 6.5 out of 10.
Couldn't you give it a little bit more?
Yeah, okay. I'll have another go, Evelyn.
Right.
Here we go. You want a higher score?
Yeah.
I give that 6.6 out of 10. In a physical and fairly tight first quarter, Uni Mowbray matched it with Scottsdale on the field. Meanwhile, I caught up with a couple of their boys in the outer. On Football Life, we're talking with Sean Crawford, and in just a few moments, Shannon Riley. But we're starting with Sean, Duff. And Sean, tell us, you've copped a few recently.
Yeah, I have actually. The last couple of weeks, broke my nose and got another one today. Yeah.
Now, Sean Crawford, Shane Crawford, do you ever get mixed up?
No, not really. No, not at all. No.
Tell us, Uni and Mowbray merged to become one in 92. Was that a happy merger?
Yeah, I think so. It was the right move for the club. And it was so far it's worked pretty well. Yeah.
Since then you've bagged a few flags.
Yeah. We have double in 92, double in 94, double in 95 and 97, 98.
Now, I believe you boys have all travelled down in a bus. You're going to stay here for a few hours, then go back in a bus?
Yes, trying to sort of have like a good club relationship with Scottsdale, and we support them a bit and have a meal down here and a good night hopefully, and hopefully it'll do the same for us, you know.
Seems like a pretty friendly competition.
It is, well, yeah, it should be too, I think, yeah.
Wasn't too much biff out there today?
No, probably not enough really, yeah.
Scottsdale kicked clear in the second quarter, but Uni Mowbray held them in the third, and Scottsdale went to the three-quarter time break with a 6-goal lead. However, their body language indicated that they knew they were in for a serve, and coach Kenny Hall told it like it was.
Because we're not playing as a team, we're playing as individualists, right? We're not prepared to do the hard things. We're going into the packs like this, you know, just bloody hanging on to ourselves, instead of standing up and taking it on the bloody chin if you're going to get caught or get hit. Of course you're going to get hit. You're back into the pack backwards. You screw up the courage. You don't bloody whip it out. You screw up the courage. Back into the packs backwards. And get our hands on the footy.
Hearing Kenny Hall speak with such passion warmed the hearts of these battle-wearied Scottsdale farmers. And the boys did have a dip in the final quarter. Finally their running game got going and they looked like a team that could make the grand final, piecing together some great passages of play. This one ending up with Bloomfield taking this absolute specky, which he subsequently hit the post with a few moments later. And then our mate Scott Blackwell propped in front of the goal square and took this easy mark and made no mistake. In fact, Scottsdale banged 9 goals on in the last quarter to run out easy winners 22-11, 143 to Uni Mowbray 9-155.
A good win in the end for your boys, but you gave them a serve at three-quarter time.
Yes, I was just disappointed, Dave, the way we were playing. We just weren't committed to the cause at all. And we've had problems with Uni Mowbray, as I mentioned to you earlier in the day, in the standard which we play against them. And we weren't committed, and we weren't tackling well. We weren't delivering the ball well into the forward line. But in the end, we persistent prevailed.
Do you think country footy should get more of a profile in Tasmania?
Oh, absolutely. You've touched on a hard point. With I think even in our local newspaper, the Examiner, I'm disappointed that AFL gets such a run the way they do, and then with our regional footy, we should be pushing this more. This is the bread and butter of football, of AFL football, but all we get is the middle page, and we're lucky to get that at times.